of government. So I'd like to bring this to an end and then ranking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the numbers haven't changed. They are the same.
Yes, Madam Chair, the numbers haven't changed. They are the same as reported in the financial statement.
And what is the debt now?
For the whole of government accounts, it's 861.4 billion.
0.4 billion.
And this includes the central government with the guaranteed SOEs and then SOE, unguaranteed SOEs.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The unguaranteed SOEs are debts that sit in the books of state-owned enterprises. And until it crystallizes and they are not able to pay, that is when you see Ministry of Finance adding it onto their debt. But if the state-owned enterprises are paying, there's no need to add it on to the central government debt. So clearly there's a difference between the central government debts and the unguaranteed debts of the SOEs. So far as they are paying, Ministry of Finance cannot add it onto the central debt. Otherwise, it will amount to double counting of the debts. But what sits in the books of Ministry of Finance is the central government debt, which the minister reported in the budget, in the mid-year review budget, and what the Auditor General also stated as a little over 700 billion. And that is what is captured. And when you go to Bank of Ghana too, that is what is captured. But they are preparing the whole of government accounts. And government also has stakes in these SOEs. And so they need to show their debt as well. So that explains for the difference.
Madam, the way you're talking, I see we worked at Finance Ministry before.
Chairman.
All right, Minister.
I will not say
Mr. Chairman, this is a very, very important conclusion that we need to bring to the attention of every Ghanaian and everybody who has interest in Ghana. It was worrying for an impression to be created that the Controller and Accountant General had overstated Ghana's public debt. And so this conclusion, sending the message clear to everybody that there was no overstatement of the public debt and that the public debt, as stated, remains the same, is the most important conclusion that I think everybody must take out of this meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Honorable Cletus.
Yeah, Chairman, to add to what the Deputy Finance Minister said, the auditors, I think that the Controller Accountant General is responsible for government account. So if you had a difference figure, I think you should have reached out to them immediately to reconcile before putting it out there. Because people...
hold on.
Yeah. Okay.
This issue has been resolved.
Yes.
Oh, it has...
Yes. Yes, it has.
Yes.
Chairman, let's don't be doing this.
Go ahead and make your point. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Dr. Adisa wants to talk.
All I want to say is that, you see, Controller and Accountant General, we have our rating agencies, Fitch, Moody's, all of that, who listens to us or who are always rating us. So when you come out to say that the Controller has overstated our public debt, it has an effect. And the credibility of the Controller is at stake. That is the point that I simply want to make. So let's try to reach out as much as possible so that we don't come out with these discrepancies. Thank you.
Honorable Jassel.
Chairman, because you've ruled, I wanted to allow it to go. Just checking with you, will it not be fair to hear what the Auditor General has to say in response to this? Because it appears we are dealing with Auditor General's publication and his reports. And so if the Controller and the Minister of Finance are here to restate that it's been resolved, they reconciled it, all that. But this is also the report from the Auditor General. I feel it's fair So just hear them, what it is. Why do we have this? What went wrong? Is there any lessons to learn going forward? Is there any recommendations from them? Maybe that will be a better service to the Ghanaian and the taxpayer. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Auditor General.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. With your leave, I will ask my colleague who is responsible for this particular report to respond to it. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My name is Paul Afram, Assistant Auditor General in charge of whole of government account audit. When the issue came up, we issued observation to the Controller Accountant General for explanation. And the response Controller Accountant General gave was to engage Ministry of Finance for a reconciliation. Unfortunately, because we were pressed of time and we needed to also meet our mandate under the Constitution, we issued a report. And after that, a reconciliation had been done, and we can certify that the public debt is as is in the whole of government account. Thank you.
All right, let's move on. The next paragraph is on, the next one is on misclassification of impairment loss as provision of investment. Honorable David Sopoku Ansa would handle that one. It's paragraph 19.
Thank you very much. So, Controller, the Auditor General highlights a misclassification of some 74.24 billion. And you know that instead of recording this as an impairment loss, it was wrongly recorded as a provision for investment. You also appreciate the fact that this error affects how government's financial position is presented, since impairment losses and provisions have different meanings under proper accounting standards. I want to find out from you why this 74.24 billion was misclassified, and if you could go a bit further to let us know who approved this accounting treatment.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I will ask my Director for National Accounts, Dr. Mark Efford Adadi, to respond to this observation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. The issue as raised by auditors has to do with an accounting treatment that we prefer in the whole of government account for investments largely sitting in the books of the SOE. When you look at IPSAS, the prescriptions of the standard as quoted by the auditors is just what it is, and we do not dispute this. But there is something we would like to bring to the attention of the Honorable Committee and the whole country, leading to the way we treated this particular item in the whole of government account. Ghana, yes, adopted IPSAS as required under the PFM Act, that the controller has the role to prescribe accounting standard that conforms with internationally acceptable standard. On the basis of that, we have set out to pursue this IPSAS agenda. But that's the case we are to the House. There are two principles here. One principle is primacy of national laws, and the second is adaptation, not a blind adoption. Now, under the principle of primacy of national law, it's been specified that when a specific requirement of a specific standard conflicts with a national law, the national law prevails. And when this country finds itself in this situation, the requirement is to review your law to accommodate the prescription of the standard, because the standard is an international standard. So to get to this point, the principle of adaptation, not blind adoption, will have to be employed to prefer accounting treatment that does not contradict the laws and also does not materially conflict with the IFSA's requirements. So applying this to the instant case, Honorable Chair, we have established the fact that there are investments in the books of state-owned enterprises when we are doing the consolidation. And it is true that they themselves did some review and recorded impairment on this investment. But when you look at the law, and as we responded to the Auditor General in our response to the observation, I humbly refer all of us to Section 53 of the PFM Act, without going through Ministry of Finance and Parliament for approval. And to accommodate these provisions of the law and IFSAS, we actually made provision in the whole of government account to take care of this impairment. And when you go to statement of performance, I can refer you to the specific page. We have really made a provision from the statement of financial performance to take care of this impairment. And instead of us deducting it direct from this investment and reporting the net in the balance sheet or statement of financial provision, we reported this investment at gross and reported the provision under liability. So the net effect on both statement of financial position and statement of financial performance is the same as IFSAS want us to achieve. So technically, we are applying the adaptation, not blanket adoption, and the primacy of national law. The first step is to engage the individual entities who have this in their records to really appreciate and then get them to write to Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance will assist them, of course, to collate all this, and Ministry of Finance will have to take steps to come to Parliament for this. So with this on the agenda now, the audit, we just have to start the process. And Honorable Chair, let me use this opportunity to acknowledge the contribution of auditors to improving the quality of the national account. Even this very account we are looking at, we, under the pressure at controller to produce this account, sometimes certain things slip through, but for the audit, we didn't have identified them. And they drew our attention to certain things, and we did further probe even to identify certain things on our own. So we would like to really acknowledge the contribution of auditors. And this very thing should be seen as a matter of national interest, and not auditors getting at controller, but we'll do our best to make sure we take the necessary steps to get them addressed. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you. Before I bring in the auditors, I want to find out from you, does this misclassification affect debt sustainability ratios presented to Parliament and the international lenders? Does it do that?
Not at all, Honorable.
So, auditors, I would want your take on this. Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. We actually, understand the concerns raised by Controller and Accountant General. But what we would want to state is that the standard, which is IFSAS 41, do allow entities to make an allowance for expected credit loss, depending on the credit risk. So the point of referring the impairment loss to Parliament, for us, it's a little bit on ease for us, because the impairment loss is not a write-off. A write-off will constitute derecognition of the financial assets from the books of accounts. But impairment loss is more or less like depreciation. You don't need approval from Parliament for depreciation. When he read the PFM was saying write-off and not allowance for expected credit loss. And for that matter, we would indulge the Controller Accountant General going forward to, like next year, pass prior adjustment to rectify the misclassification. Thank you.
Okay. Now let me go to the next one. The next one is non-recognition of income tax and VAT receivables. What says you, Controller and Accountant General?
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. The issue when it came up, we had an engagement with GRA. We spoke to a top official of GRA, and then personally myself, I had a meeting with the Commissioner General, and what they said confirmed our position. The issue is that taxes are assessed on cash basis in Ghana, and until that is done, it will be difficult, because even if at the end of 31st, if they give us any receivables as any figure as receivable, that could be provisional. And then this will also be subject to disputes and legal issues. So at the end of the day, those provisionals, a lot of the amounts there might not be collectible. And we'll end up having huge build-up of receivables in our accounts. And if we have a lot of receivables in our accounts, we will need a parliamentary approval to be able to write them off. And we also have a lot of implications. What it means is that we will be overstating government revenue. We will be overstating government assets. And we will also be creating mismatch between fiscal performance and availability of cash. Again, it will also raise issues about our credibility, about our fiscal reporting. Because if you have huge receivables in your books and they are still hanging, you are not reporting accurately. It will also raise issues about confidence in our government accounts. So we think that we should tread cautiously on this issue. My brothers auditors, we want to ask them that we should tread cautiously until the tax laws are amended, where we can have assessment could be done on a accrual basis. Then GRA will be certain that if we have these receivables in our books, they are certain that they will be converted to cash promptly. But if we have them built up all the time as receivables and they are not converted to cash, they will be creating problems. So that's our position now. And I had a meeting with the Commissioner General, and he also confirmed that this is the position until the tax law changes. We will not be able to report on receivables. Thank you.
Auditor General, what do you say about this? Because you were asking the Controller and Accountant General to collaborate with the Commissioner General. This issue about cash accounting and accruals when it comes to income tax.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Like you've rightly said, once Ghana has adopted the accrual IPSAS, we are of the view that our revenue, which is, tax income, should also be recognized under the accrual concept. We've come of age when we were doing cash accounting. And for that matter, if the standard event is, when the taxable event occurs, a revenue has to be recognized. So we share the concern about Controller Accountant General to continue to engage Minister of Finance and the GRA as to how best we can strengthen our tax system. Thank you.
All right, go ahead, madam.
Thank you. Ministry of Finance, I think you should assist Controller, assist GRA to look at the kind of laws that we need to amend if we are to go the full IPSAS way. And we cannot continue to use this as an excuse to not fully comply with IPSAS. So I'm sure the Auditor General will be willing to assist you. Let's identify all the things, all the laws that we need to tweak so that in implementing IPSAS to the full, we can do it without any hindrances. And then we can have a full and complete account for all of us. And the committee will be very happy to also assist in that regard to make sure it happens. Thank you.
Minister, rightly so. In fact, we've started an engagement with the Controller and Accountant General and the GRA to see if we can align this. But as the Controller explained, there are genuine practical challenges because if we go ahead and recognize all those revenues and begin to plan for them, knowing very well that at the end of the day, practically, as it has been happening, it has always been difficult to rake in all those revenues. Those genuine concerns will also have to be taken into consideration in any decision we make going forward. But ultimately, it is important that we are all on the same page so that when auditors are coming to audit, they know that these are the laws within which we are, and then we don't go semi-accrual. We are reporting some on full accrual basis and all that. They don't help to be consistent. So I appreciate the concerns, and I think we'll have to take it from here and align everybody properly. Thank you.
All right. The next one will be on paragraph 34, lack of impairment review of the tangible and intangible fixed assets. And Honorable Simon will take care of that one.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I mean, Controller and Accountant General were supposed to conduct an assessment of these assets. There was no impairment test on the assets done. And is there any reason why this wasn't done? Because it's required under IPSAS 21 and 26.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll ask our Director for National Accounts, Dr. Mark Efford Adadi, to respond to this. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, this impairment is one very important, I'll call it national issue that, again, auditors have raised. And we also need to provide explanation that will further the national attention to this very important IPSAS requirement. The issue even goes beyond just impairment. The issue has to do with the assets of government that we report in the national accounts. We are at the stage where we still have significant portion of our national assets not featuring on the balance sheets. So when auditors raise this observation, we drew their attention that as part of the roadmap to get government fixed assets fully reported in the national account, we developed a very comprehensive fixed asset register and deployed. Already, if you don't have the fixed assets in your books, it is even premature to start impairing them. So they should allow us some time, space to work to bring fixed assets of government, all of them, onto the balance sheets. And the values we even have in the balance sheet, we need a second look at them, which I engage the assistant auditor in charge of the whole of government account, that we've developed methodology to identify the assets and value them. But those values need to be verified independently. So when we have all these values reported by the covered entities, we'll get the Auditor General to conduct special exercise to review the value to be sure that we are accurately reporting on them. We have not done that yet. So if you start impairing the assets, simply reviewing their values, I think we may be a step ahead of ourselves. So we need some time to get there. Having said that, we are still taking steps to develop a strategy to get this done, at least at the entity level, for those entities that are ready. So we have currently developed the impairment assessment guideline. We have it currently to share with the auditors. We have a collaborative committee that any technical tool controller develops, and that's required by the PFM Act. We need to seek Auditor General's consent through consultation to be sure these tools are really okay to be deployed. So we have deployed the tools for impairment assessment. The next step, we engage Auditor General and the team to review it. Once we agree, we'll start the deployment for the entities to start using it. But before then, let's also pay attention to getting the fixed asset data onto the government balance sheet. Thank you very much.
So is it then the case that at the moment the assets on the report as stated are overvalued?
Honorable Chair, we wouldn't say they are overvalued. We have a very comprehensive accounting methodology to get the values we are reporting. So the values as we have them now are justifiable. But we use accounting eye to put those values there. We need audit eye to review them. Beyond that, we also need all the assets to come. Then we have a full fixed asset register of government.
then we can engage Ghana Audit Service to review this. Then we all agree on the appropriate value for this asset. Then subsequently, this impairment test can be applied to make sure we report on the appropriate value for these assets. Thank you.
Do you have any time frame in mind that this will get done?
Yes, we are working to ensure the 2025 annual accounts. Before the production, we might have started deploying this impairment guideline. So we are in August now. Before the end of the year, we might have finished all the necessary engagements and we will start the deployment. The next national account is due for submission to the Auditor General in March or by end of March 2026. We hope to do this before then. Thank you.
But this IPSAS has been in, it was passed about a couple of years ago, right? And it takes that long for you to fully comply.
Yes, Honorable Chair, IPSAS, we've adopted this as long as 2004, but progress has been very slow. And as indicated by Honorable Chair, we even have to look at our laws and then activate a very serious institutional action to be able to achieve what we want to achieve fully under IPSAS. But thank God, in the 2023 annual account, Ghana became full compliant at the national level. So we are just working to deepen the achievement. And Audit Service has been a very, very useful partner in this regard, including what we are discussing now. Thank you.
Okay, the next one is unreconciled intercompany account balances in the WGA trial balance. And Honorable Nana Oseje will take that one.
Thank you very much. Chairman, Controller, as my chairman said, this one is unreconciled intercompany account balances in the whole of government account trial balance. We all know that the intercompany account balance should have zero balances in the consolidated trial balance. If there are imbalances, I think it has effect on the financial statements of the country. Let me go to what the auditors said. We recommended that the Controller and Accountant General investigate the source of the balances, opening and closing, which there's a difference in it, and make the necessary corrections to ensure accurate consolidation. Additionally, the consolidation procedures and controls should be reviewed and strengthened, particularly around the closing and the roll forward mechanisms. Controller, my first question to you is, can you please take the committee through the process where you arrived at these imbalances, so that the whole of Ghana will know how you arrive at these figures? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Director for National Accounts will handle this observation. Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Yes, this is one of the issues, and we want to say auditors' budget technical eye or mind. We have the chart of accounts that define the classification of transactions on the system. And there's a segment called balancing segment, where we are able to balance the accounts on the system to produce financial statement. Now, when the system was set up, GIFMIS was to produce one balance sheet for the country, just one balance sheet for the country, till we got to a point where we realized, no, each entity is a spending and reporting entity and must have the functionality to be able to produce its own set of accounts on the system and balance its own accounts accordingly. But unfortunately, at the time, we were running on budgetary central government. We came to central government. MMDAs
SOEs data were not coming to the system. So when the CAGD started the journey to expand the scope of the national account and the need to get each reporting entity to balance its own account, the system set up as we had it could not accommodate this. So as we speak, the GIFMIS is able to give us up to trial balance stage. And when we get the trial balance, the transactions that happen between government entities are the intercompany transactions we are talking about. There should be automatic net off. So when Parliament of Ghana enjoys electricity from ECG, when you are producing whole of government account, ECG will report money paid by Parliament to ECG as revenue, and Parliament will report this as expenditure. But if you are treating Ghana as a single economic entity, there is no revenue, there is no expenditure. This should net off to get the zero, as Honorable Member indicated. The system should be able to do this automatically, but the setup currently does not support this. But we can also not wait for the system, so we have to find a workaround to address this. So what is happening currently is that we run the trial balance from the GIFMIS or anyway, and we identify these intercompany transactions that are hanging instead of being zero. Then we manually do the adjustments when we are doing the consolidation, which auditors duly acknowledge, and that's what we are doing. So the issues raised by auditors have been addressed. They did not impact on the account being audited. We have manually taken care of them during the account consolidation process. But I believe the auditors are drawing attention to the fact that we need to get the system up to speed to address this very key, this very important functionality. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Controller. Please, so in this particular instance, what happened?
This particular instance, you find we run the trial balance, the consolidated trial balance. So it's supposed to balance, but you see these intercompany transactions hanging, and that's what the auditors have identified. It's something that we ourselves we know of. Auditors are just highlighting it.
Thank you. Controller, so what are the measures being put in place now to avert the occurrence of this abnormality? And also give us some time frame so that next year we will not be seeing these imbalances again.
Yeah. Honorable Chair, to address this, we really need to relook at the GIFMIS. The GIFMIS in its current form requires some refitting. And the scope of the national accounts is above what the GIFMIS can accommodate currently. So we just have to refit the GIFMIS to address this and many other issues that are lingering at this point. So GIFMIS should be given attention, Honorable Chair.
Mr. Chairman, I want to confirm that this issue has been brought to the attention of the Ministry of Finance. The Comptroller and Accountant General has written a report asking for an upgrade of the GIFMIS system. And so it is something that we are looking at to see what can be done to upgrade it so that it can contain the whole of the account and perform all the functions that needs to be performed. And so I cannot give timelines here because I know of government assurance, but I can confirm that this information has been brought to the attention of the Minister, and we are thinking through what to do. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I think it is just a matter of allocating monies for this. That is the point. So the Minister should set his priorities right, because this is very, very important. It is a matter of allocating money to make sure you get the right licenses and training as well. So this is about funding, and so I would ask that the Minister in the 2026 budget can allocate some portions of the revenue to start something concerning the GIFMIS system. And I believe that will go a long way to save our country from some of the infractions that the Auditor General cites us for. And so it's over to you. It's all about allocating some monies. And so he should set his priorities right and make sure you give some monies to handle this, Honorable Minister. In all fairness, this is not about politics or anything, but I think that it is more about allocating some funding you cannot, conclude maybe in one financial year, but at least you can part away with some funding that if in this year I want to conclude on a portion of it, that will enable all MDAs come on board and do the basic things that the Auditor General cites them for. And then in moving forward, we will do the more advanced things, and that will be good. And so we'll look out for it in the 2026 budget. I know you are preparing to bring the budget to Parliament, so please pass on this message to your minister. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank the former Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance for the admonition, and to say that I know she knows what it is. And the controller brought this to her attention at the time, and it is being brought to our attention. But I can assure her that we are committed.
Like I said, this is not about politics, because as
No,
we sit here,
I'm
we
not
don't
talking
do politics.
I'm
What we
assuring
are saying
you
is that
and
you are
the
now
whole
in
people of
government,
Ghana.
and so if it is possible for you to allocate some monies, I'm sure certain things were done, licenses were renewed, and we could not finish everything. But you are in the helm of government now, so continue with where we left off.
Yes,
and I think it's a fair admonition to give.
I am
So you don't have to
thanking you
remind
for the
people that we were in government and we did some, we renewed certain licenses. So take it up from there. And I think that should be enough.
Honorable Chairman, yes, I'm just giving you the assurance that it has been brought to our attention, and we are working in earnest to make sure that we upgrade the GIFME system so that they can operate well for all of us. Thank you, Chairman.
But this is 2024 report,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Oh, okay. She was there. Okay.
Chairman,
This goes right.
Governance is continuous. We expect that if it was not done in the past, it should. It doesn't mean that we should. Let's continue to progress Ghana. But yes, but just to bring to your attention, so last year, when in our rounds, especially dealing with the schools and all of that, and assemblies, they usually bypass the GIFME system with the excuse that the assemblies are not hooked up to the internet. Has this come to your attention, and what exactly are you doing to ensure that every assembly or MDA that deals with the GIFME system has reliable internet access? This question should be going to the Ministry of Communications, but because a lot of these infractions come up all the time, I just want to bring to your attention, if you are not aware, and let's find a way of releasing funds to ensure that at least every assembly or every MDA is hooked up to the internet, so that they do not come with the excuse that we were not connected to the internet. Minister, if you have something.
Chairman, this is a very good information, and I want to say that today, any MDA that gives internet as an excuse for not operating within the GIFME system is just giving that as a convenient excuse. Because, look, we have seen clearly that institutions that are even far away from the capital, in the remote areas, are using the GIFMEX, and those who are in the cities are rather using internet as an excuse. So that cannot be the real reason why some institutions are failing to operate within the GIFME system. In fact, the budget committee, chaired by Honorable Kweku Kwarteng, has started an exercise, and they have started inviting every institution that is not operating within the GIFME system to explain why they are failing to do so. I participated in that meeting, and we are working with Controller to remove all the obstacles, all the challenges for which they are not able to operate within the system. We've given ourselves some timelines, and so I want to believe that next year it should be difficult for anybody to come here and give an excuse why they are not operating within the GIFME system. And so I appreciate this concern, but it is something that we are really working on. Thank you.
Okay, this falls right into the next infraction, partial compliance with gift mix usage. And Honorable Shirley, Chair will take that one.
Thank you, Chair. So, as Chair indicated, there are some covered entities that are not fully compliant with the gift mix system. And we know what this does is to increase the risk of material misstatements and also undermine efforts to promote accountability, transparency, and effective public financial management system. Why are some covered entities not complying fully? Can you educate the committee on this?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, covered entities subsiding on GOG funding are on gift mix. I mean, those who receive releases from Ministry of Finance for their payments are all on gift mix. The gap is the other funding source, which is the donor, the statutory funds, and the IGF. These are the institutions which are not on gift mix. And as Honorable Minister said, the Budget Committee actually requested for a list of institutions that are not on gift mix. That information was given. I think they started inviting those institutions. But what we want to do as controller is that we realize that it's very convenient for the covered entities not to use gift mix because they are able to refer their payments even outside gift mix. And we've started a program. We want to do it. We are going to gradually withdraw the manual checks in the system. So gradually we'll withdraw the manual checks, and that will compel them to use the gift mix. If you process and you can't effect payment, then of course you'll be compelled to use gift mix. And that is what we have discussed with Minister of Finance. We have their support. They are even saying that if there's any payment that is outside gift mix at the Ministry of Finance, we should start with them. So we are going to come out with a program. We've had discussions with GIPS, which is Ghana Interpayment and Settlement System, to use the EFT with the commercial banks. We are going to sign a service level agreement with them, with the commercial banks as well. So we'll do it. We are going to do that. And they'll be forced, they'll be compelled to use gift mix. It's something that we are going to do. Thank you.
So these are promises that I look forward to you fulfilling, but how soon can we expect you to do this?
We did a pilot, and I think one that is it Ablukuma South Municipal Assembly. Currently, they are using the EFT and it's working. We want to build on that, and then, as I said, that to be done gradually. We want to identify all the manual checks in the system. We set up a committee with our Controller Accountant General, Bank of Ghana. We'll identify them, and then we'll take it from there. We also don't want to create inconvenience for the covered entities, because if you have done the manual checks, then you should make sure that the gift mix system and then the processes are also working very well. So it will take time, but we are looking at the end of the year. We will have withdrawn a lot of the manual checks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, in addition to this, in fact, we want to give the covered entities that are not operating fully using the gift mix, especially those using their IGFs. They are the main culprits now. We want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And so, as a follow-up to the parliamentary engagements with them, we have invited them to meet with the Ministry of Finance and Controller and Accountant General's Department. We want to give them, to agree with them on some timelines. Because, as the controller said, after a certain time within this year, you will not be able to spend your money if you are not operating within the government system. And because we are government, we also don't want government services to suffer, the citizenry to suffer in accessing some of these services. So we want to be fair to everybody. But very soon we will announce the timelines, and after which time manual checks cannot be issued unless you operate within the system. And so I'm sure we can share those timelines with you after we have extensively engaged them next week over the timelines that will agree with them. Thank you.
All right, the next infraction is on paragraph 53, inadequate disclosure of significant investment and disinvestment. And Honorable Enim will take care of that one.
Thank you, Chair. So, Chair, this has to do with inadequate disclosure of significant investments and disinvestments. So the auditors noted that controller recognized disinvestments in public institutions amounting to 10,296,229,559 Ghana cedis, and new investments totaling 19,247,229,144, as presented in Schedule 4. I would want the controller to run the committee through the processes involved in recognizing investments and disinvestment, and also the role of independent valuers, internal audit, and external auditors.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Director for National Accounts will handle this one.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. First, the process of handling or accounting for investment and disinvestment. Well, investment in its simple terms, when these entities put money somewhere expecting to get something out of it, is the investment. So if within the reporting period they've done something new, it's an addition, as indicated by the auditors. And if they decide to withdraw or, how do we call it, end the investment by taking back their money, it's a disinvestment. So I refer you to page 455 of the report. That's where you find those details. Now, what auditors are raising again is a standard, it's a requirement by the IPSAS. And let me indicate that, controller, we are not directly involved in doing this investment and disinvestment. What we do is to aggregate what the entities have done. So sometimes it becomes very difficult to know specific reasoning, timing behind this investment at the accounting stage. But what we want to do is to really get these entities to know this IPSAS requirement as raised by auditors, that in their books, they should provide adequate disclosure to clarify what is accounting for additional investment in their books and what is accounting for disinvestment in their books. So when we are doing consolidation, to the extent possible, we can give a summary, a highlight as a matter of disclosure on this. This is what we've not done, and auditors are raising it, and we thought it's appropriate. But one challenge and one other thing we'd like to draw audit and the committee's attention is that the national account, the whole of government account, is a consolidated account. And it's not every information that we can put in. And if you go to page Schedule 4, page 455, we are talking about over 300 entities. So is it the case that each of the entities we have consolidated, we have to explain the purpose, the nature, the transaction, asset involved, date, amount, and method of acquisition, financial impact, gains, losses, valuation, any ongoing commitment, risk and benefit, alignment with government policy and strategic objectives. We are just wondering how we'll be able to capture all these things in the national account. Already, these documents...
I think that I would want to come in here.
Thank you.
This is a consolidated account.
That's correct.
And IPSAS is clear on disclosures. So irrespective of the number of covered entities, there is no excuse. So please, if it would take three booklets to get these disclosures done, I think you should follow that.
No problem.
Yes. And we are here to peruse whatever documentation you provide. So for us, that is no excuse. The auditors recommended that you should enhance instructions to reporting entities. What have you done about this so far?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, we have really developed a comprehensive manuals, templates, and tools to guide all covered entities, and that has been acknowledged by the auditors. I humbly refer you to page 12 of the Auditor General's report. And yes, page 12 of the Auditor General's report. Compliance with international public accounting standards. And I humbly read paragraph 62. The Controller and Accountant General adopted the international public sector accounting standards accruals in the preparation of the 2024 whole of government account. The Controller and Accountant General developed and listed tools to enhance compliance with the IPSAS. with IFSAS, the accrual basis of accounting and reporting at the national and entity level for use by covered entities. So the tools have been mentioned: accruals reporting template, IFSAS accruals accounting policy, IFSAS compliance shadow account, IFSAS compliance checklist, training manual, and asset register. This is the statement. This was to achieve transparency, accountability, and fair presentation of the whole of government account. And this is the statement from the Auditor General. I must commend the Controller and Accountant General and his team for this achievement. So this has been done. What is needed is the entities to utilize them, and we are helping them. They need a lot of training to be able to utilize it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. How would you ensure that going forward, now you have provided all the things that you have done, but in terms of evidence, do we have evidence that these covered entities have received these instructions? Because you would say it, and it's another thing, them receiving these instructions. Yeah. So do we have evidence to support that all covered entities have been given these instructions as to how to make disclosures going forward, so we do not get into these problems?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Yes, we have evidence. These documents were launched at 2024 Annual Conference of Controller and Accountant General. And as I speak, they are all on the Controller's website for all entities to download and use. We've also administered training for over 1,200 public sector accountants. We have the list of all the trainees available and their entities. We can make it available if requested. Thank you.
Since we have the auditors here, auditors, are you satisfied with these explanations?
Honorable Chair, yes, we are satisfied with the explanation given.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Controller. You are discharged.
No, I have a few questions, sir.
Hold on, please.
Unfortunately, Mr. Chairperson, I need 2 more minutes to ask.
Yeah, the former Minister for Finance.
Minister of State at the Ministry of Finance.
Yes, she wants to ask you questions.
Yes,
when she was there.
I'm looking at the actual accounts on page 43, and I see biological assets, and you're saying it includes agricultural bits. I just want to find out, how do you assess biological assets? The amount I see there is, to me, a bit on the low side, based on the definition you gave. The note is 55B, but the actual is 43, page 43 on the accounts.
Yes. Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. This is another benefit of IFSAS. Biological assets technically are those assets of natural character. Animals we have, and those things that we are holding that are biological in nature, and they are not being held for the intention of selling them. When you have a farm, when you have cows, pigs in the farm, if they are not there for resale, they are there to produce, like University of Ghana having a farm. These are biological assets. We have to find a way of valuing them and accounting for them in our balance sheets. It's a highly technical area we are looking at now. So it's good you've spotted this, Honorable Chair. We are engaging Ministry of Agric and identifying institutions that have any engagements in the form of agric or related matters. Then we find a very suitable way of identifying this and valuing them. There are some technical complications, but IFSAS is a requirement of IFSAS, and we have to work to achieve it. The figure you've seen here is an indication that we have started something. So we'll build on it in the subsequent account, hopefully. Thank you.
Also, I looked at page 588, the grants bit, and for countries that I know, they are usual development partners who, in one way or the other, bring in something. I don't see any figure there. I just want to find out from you why it is so.
Yes, that's true. Page 588, the grant schedule, we did not have any inflow from these development partners for 2024. And this, we collate this data from Ministry of Finance, the entities, and our Public Debt and Investment Directorate. Once there's no figure here, we still have them in our books, but within the reporting year, we did not receive any inflow from them. That would be the reason.
That's not possible for Japan, for Germany, for France, for Netherlands.
Yes. I don't know.
So, Ministry of Finance, maybe the right division should collaborate with the Controller and Accountant General and help us get input for some of these grants, because I know that these countries, in one way or the other, contributes something. It can be nil. I know we are in the process of making sure we implement fully the IPSAS, but we should also take steps to ensure that any entity that is supposed to give you the right information does that, so that at the end of it, you give us a very comprehensive view of government assets and liabilities. And then finally, last week, Friday, we met Ghana Education Service, Ministry of Education, and consistently, every district that was cited for one infraction or the other had to do with overpayment and unearned salaries, and there was a third one. And payment of responsibility allowance to those not deserving of them. And for some of the districts, they maintained that they sent letters to Controller and Accountant General to halt these payments. Some said they have done that for a year. Others said they had done that for some months. And Controller and Accountant General has still not been able, has not stopped these payments. Controller, we want to find out from you that clearly, if there's evidence to that effect that they have actually written to your end, they have done everything that they need to do, and your people, as in Controller, has not done the needful, we will speak to the Auditor General and leadership and apply the necessary sanctions, because it is becoming too many. Some genuinely tell you, we sent the letters, we have proof, we have done this, we have done that. On Friday, it wasn't a pleasant situation at all. Consistently, we had more than 50 districts being cited for the same issue. Yes.
Thank you, Madam Chair. On Friday in the evening, I watched a bit of it on YouTube, and that was around 6 p.m. And I even sent a message to the Director General, Professor Davis, on the same issue. And that very evening, I called Mr. Mark Iro that I wanted a copy of the audit report. And he has promised that this week I will get it. My issue is we shouldn't just end at recovery, because we realized that we were happy when they said recovered and then we take, recovered then we take. We should go beyond recovery. Who actually did it? If it is Controller, the inputs. So the audit report will definitely indicate the recipients and their staff ID, if that should be in the audit report. So I want that report. We are working in collaboration with other security agencies, OSP, because if somebody did it, definitely we are using an Oracle system. There's an audit trail. We can go into the system and then know, identify who actually on that particular day process their allowances. It's something very easy that we can do. So what I'm saying is that once we get that, we should just extra patience, and then definitely with the investigation, those culpable will actually be brought to book. Because it's not a comfortable thing for me as well, because payroll issues has become something that almost every day I hear those issues. But on the issue of they written to us, Madam Chair, the processes that the letters go through, they don't come direct to Controller. They write, if from the district, it's go to the region, it comes to headquarters, before it comes to Controller. So maybe we also have to investigate to find out that did the letters actually get to Controller. There are situations where the district will write, it comes to the head office or even the region for about 6 months. So we also need to, that's what we want to meet GES and then Ghana Health Service to look at our operations and their operations as well. And I remember I said this, we'll have a client service charter. We can revisit that and then agree on timelines. If there's a letter from a district to a region, how long should it be in the region before it comes to the head office? We should look at that. And then people keep on saying, we send the letter to controller, and for 1 year we haven't received the letter. And then you go to the district or region and you realize that the letter is still there. So we'll collaborate with them, and then they'll give us timelines, and this should be resolved. But for the audit report, I have requested for it, and we'll take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Controller. But I think that in order to expedite some of these things, you should give them, in this day of modern technology, give them 2 or 3 emails that once they send to from the district to the region should, so that there will be a paper trail. Sending emails is faster and more efficient than writing letters. And if you engage the heads of institutions that moving forward, this is how you want to go about it, in addition to the letters coming to you, it will go a long way to solve some of these problems.
Madam Chair, thank you. It's one of the issues we want to discuss. What we want to do is that if it had to do with inputting, then we'll still expect that the hard copies will go through the region to the head office and then come to us. But if it had to do with stoppage, then of course, as you are saying, we can even start with the email. So once we receive the email...
But Controller, in sending the email, they need to attach the relevant documents.
Yes, they will attach the relevant documents.
So if they attach the relevant documents, it's the same thing there.
No, it's the same thing, but as I said, if it has to do with inputting,
yes,
a new allowance or a new entrant, for that, it still has to go through that process. But for us to protect the public purse, what I'm saying that if we have to do with the stoppage of unwarranted allowance, then of course the email with the relevant documents, when it comes to us, we can stop the salary or whatever it is, whilst waiting for the original from the head office, so that we don't continue to pay unearned salaries to the recipient. That's what I'm saying. So.
And then finally, why is it that when sometimes mistakenly somebody's name is taken off the payroll, it takes forever? Controller, it takes forever for the person to be put back on it. Sometimes it's a genuine mistake from the validators. And, and sometimes too, it is a way of some of the heads showing teachers where the power lies. Exactly. And it's very, very painful. Since Friday, we've had a lot of these reports. It's very painful that genuinely, your name is taken off the payroll for one reason or the other. You have to go to controller, sometimes 8 good months, and you still haven't been reinstated. Meanwhile, you are there working, and for one reason or the other, you are being validated. How do we cure this?
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you have to do with the validators, of course, they validate. They are in the district, they are in their offices, and they will determine that this amount of people deserve to be paid. So if for one reason or the other, they don't validate you, then it's the same process. It's the same validators and institutions that have to go through the process to validate you for us to pay you. We cannot, as controller, pay you if the validators haven't validated you. So these are some of the challenges that
when they bring proof to you that it was wrongly done, and so you have to reinstate the person. That's what I'm talking about. There are some people who vacate posts and they deserve to be taken off. But those who, for one reason or the other, are genuinely taken off, the validators will tell you they have done the right thing. They have sent the documentation and everything to controller. Sometimes they even show you evidence that this is what they have done. And the beneficiaries come all the way from the various places to come and sit in controller and see, who do I know to help me do this, help me do that. So let's not just explain it away. There are genuine reasons and genuine concerns. I think maybe you should have a desk dedicated specifically for these things, because sometimes when you hear their stories, controller, it's not too good.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a desk, we have a client service who deals with the payroll issues. And I think I remember I mentioned this somewhere that they come direct to the client service, and then their issues are resolved. Those can be issues. The issue is that some of them, some of the issues could have even been resolved at the district level. But we don't understand why people still want to see somebody to resolve their issues for them. We think they are genuine concerns. You've gone through the process, and they will be resolved. We'll see to that. But please, I want the director of payroll is here, and I want her to also practically tell us what happens. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Regarding the issue of responsibility allowance, normally when an officer of an institution is given additional responsibility, it's the institution that need to go through the normal processes to get that done. Now, for example, if in a school a teacher is given additional responsibility of a guidance and counseling coordinator, it is the institution that need to go through the processes for approval, and they are the ones, the personnel processing sections, they are required to capture this data on the payroll system. For example, if the officer was Assistant Director 1, 19, with the responsibility, it would be Assistant Director 19H if it was 19L. So you don't find it as a line item on the pay slip. It's just the change in job. So it's the institution that is supposed to capture this data on the payroll system and then inform controller. When, again, that responsibility is taken away from that officer, it's the institution, again, that is required to also change the job again to reflect the current job of the officer. Until that is done by the institution at the personnel processing section level, controller cannot do anything about it. We do not actually capture data regarding these issues.
In my submission, I said that once they identify and they claim, they bring it to controller, they don't act on it. So I'm not asking controller to go to the institution and check, but they are saying that once they are normally seen, they write letters to controller and they expect controller to do the needful. That was what they said on Friday.
Yeah.
So my issue is, why does it take so long? And the Controller and Accountant General explained that sometimes the processes through which these letters are brought to the attention of controller is the issue. And so we mentioned the fact that we should come up with some emails or some quickened way of addressing these things. So I get that very well. But my issue is, as soon as it is brought to your attention, do the needful to make sure these names are off, or those who are receiving allowances that they are not supposed to receive, go off. That's all I want to put across.
Honorable, the example I gave is that if they do not take action at their own level and they bring the letters alone, we cannot do anything about it. That is just the message I was trying to carry forward. But as soon as the
action without, they can't write a letter without taking action. Nobody does that.
Sometimes the letters can come to us without them taking action at their level. So most of the time we have to refer these documents back to their institutions.
Madam, these are administrative issues that you can check
on them.
So we ask that you check these things. The most important thing is that people are paid for what they have worked for.
Yeah.
Those who are not supposed to earn certain allowances shouldn't be put on those ones. So work with Ghana Education Service and the Ministry of Education to see how best we can rectify this. That's all we are saying. Nothing more, nothing less.
All right. Thank you.
Madam Chair, thank you. But I just want to add that we need cooperation from the general public, because sometimes the investigators find it very difficult to get to the bottom of it because people are not ready to cooperate. So if you're a teacher and someone has taken money from you, you ask who has taken money from you, and they find it very difficult to come out. No, just let us know. Pardon? let us know, should cooperate. Because of the information that we are getting from the investigators, that these are sometimes they start an investigation and get somewhere and they get stuck because they are not forthcoming with information for them to actually arrest the culprits. So please, if you're a teacher and someone has taken money from you, we are not going to mention your name. You just come out. We will have a way of doing it just so that we know those who are involved. If the controller staff, we will not shield that person.
Controller.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. What we'll do is, on some of our sittings, we'll invite you to come and sit down and hear for yourself what is going on. And then you try to help us resolve these issues. When you have one institution that has unearned income of 270,000, one institution, then you ask yourself what is going on. And that's what the country is watching. They are watching you and I live.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, respectfully.
Controller, you said they should tell you, they should come out. How do they do that? I mean, we are on national television. How do they come to you? There should be a means. There should be a system where, let's say, a telephone line or an email where they are sending you an email. I mean, let the public know. We are live on TV.
We are coming out by next week. All the regions will advertise their telephone numbers, and then the head office as well will do that, and then the emails as well. We've started the process. So all the 16 regions will advertise in their dailies for if you have issues. You don't even have to travel to Accra. Just call the number. If you're in the Eastern region, you go to the regional director's office there, and they will have it. If they cannot, then they'll escalate you to the head office. So we'll advertise the telephone numbers for all the 16 regions. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I want to thank you and to say that the genuine concerns of people who wait several months before being put back on the payroll is something that will be looked at. It is some reports that we have been made aware of. And I want to add also that we've come across some allegations of payroll-related fraud issues that we have asked the investigation agencies to investigate. Fortunately, because these things are done on the system, it is even possible for us to see who activated somebody, who deactivated the person, and all that. There was one that went viral recently about someone who complained that I think a teacher or so, name was taken off the payroll. Somebody assisted him to get it on, and the person was demanding a lot of money from him. Because he did not pay, they went ahead and removed his name from the payroll. We have taken serious view of this, and it is being investigated. Fortunately, controller knows the person in the controller office who activated, who deactivated, but a lot more information need to come out for us to know what really went on and for the appropriate punishment to be meted out. And so the finance minister takes serious views to some of these things, and he's asked that we have an in-depth investigation into it. We will apprise the general public of whatever the outcome is. And as Controller said, the public should be free to come forth with any information that will help us nip this trend in the bud. But also, very, very important thing for us to realize is that before anybody is paid from any of, from GES, from Ghana Health Service, anywhere, that is on the payroll, somebody has to validate that there is this person in the VRJHS number 1 in Akosombo who is a teacher, and me, the head of the institution or whoever, I'm validating that the person has worked and must be paid. We are going to the extent of identifying validators and bringing them to book if they validate people who have not worked for a particular month. And so we must all be on guard and realize that everybody has a responsibility to protect the integrity of our payroll. Because the system where we clean the payroll and only for ghosts to re-enter the payroll and all that, I think must come to an end. And so, thank you, Chairman. I think Controller is here. They must take this as an admonition for them to go and work efficiently to make sure that genuine people who for one reason or the other find their names off the payroll are brought on within the shortest possible time. I know that they will want to be cautious in putting people back on the payroll, but 6 months, 8 months cannot be an acceptable time frame. And so it is something that I think we need to take in good faith and all work together to clean. Thank you.
Minister, 1 minute. And the last thing has to do with the banks who received these monies. You know, sometimes when their attention are brought to some of these wrongful payments, they refuse to send it back. Last week, Friday, we had one from a rural bank, and their attention had been drawn to the fact that it was a wrongful payment, and yet still they were refusing to do the needful. So one of our colleagues here suggested that they speak to the Apex ARP, but since these banks are under you, under Ministry of Finance, we ask that you collaborate with them, and that once a notice is brought to their attention concerning this in a formal way, they need to do the needful, because you can't have public funds sitting, government money sitting in your account, even when your attention has been drawn to the fact that these are monies that should go back to government coffers. So just to let you know of what happened on Friday and how Ministry of Finance can assist us in this regard. Thank you.
Controller, we have questions to ask your Central Region and Western Region office. Do you have somebody here to answer those questions? Or you are going to sit there and answer them?
One observation.
Two of them.
No. Are they two?
Okay. Honorable Jesso.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, so they were even asking me to humbly ask that you take that before they leave so they don't have to come back. Thank you.
So, Mr. Chair, it's just sorry to take you back a bit. Please allow me to straighten on record. Madam Chair made an observation of grant schedule on page 588 of the report. I got a bit alarmed that we saw 00, and that's not a good incentive. However, if you go back a bit to page 586, the grant schedule has actually been categorized into two categories: grant in cash and grant in kind. So the grant in cash actually has some figures from the DPs and other organizations. Okay. And it is the grant in kind component that we are seeing 00 recorded.
Okay.
So that our development partners do not see us as not recognizing their grants. So the grant in cash is actually from page 586. And so you see African Development Bank has about 120 million, and the others are listed. It is when you come to the grant in kind that we don't have figures. Okay, I thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Controller, now we'll go to paragraph 186 of the ministries, departments, and other agencies. And it's untransferred unearned salaries by banks. Honorable Nancy J will take that one.
This 186.
So the untransferred. These are the evidence. We have retrieved them from pensions. So we use their committed pension to take it. One person paid his, the other one we have used their committed pension to take it off.
Oh, okay. So this one?
Yes.
So everything has been paid?
Paid.
Okay.
Retrieve all.
Okay. How many were there? Two people?
The didn't mention the...
But one person,
I think we have 3 or so.
we use what? His committed pension.
Committed pension. One person paid, and 2, the rest we used committed pension. We deducted from their committed pension.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Controller, this is Aguna West District, Central Region. On untransferred, unearned salaries by the banks, totaling 308,827 Ghana cedis. And the auditors noted that several letters were written by Controller and Accountant General between April 2023 to December 2023, instructing banks to transfer a total unearned amount of 308,827.38 from the pensioners' individual accounts to government chests. These individuals were Emmanuel Otabel, David Kwabna Daakun, Frederick Howie, and Vincent K. Utu. The auditors recommended that the regional head of Controller and Accountant General should employ the use of court orders to recover the said amount with interest at the prevailing Bank of Ghana rate. Controller, I want to find out from you the steps taken so far and whether the said amount that belongs to all of us has been returned to chest. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. They've all been recovered, and we have the evidence here to show.
Auditors, please, can you confirm?
Honorable Chair, we are yet to be updated with the evidence that they have.
Recovered with interest.